All right, everybody. You know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. All right, folks, we're here. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Mr. Jonathan Simmons, and we thank God for those of you who are watching us here on the broadcast, no matter how you're watching, whether it be on Periscope. Thank you, Periscope viewers, especially those listening on the replay, because you're still hanging with us. Thank you to all those who are watching us on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on Twitch. Also, big shout out to those of you who are watching on television, on Roku, watching us on the Phoenix Entertainment Channel and also on the C Room Sports and Entertainment Network. Well, guys, you know how we do it each and every week when we bring on the show. We have a special lady that joins along with us. She is one of the most beautiful women on Sports Talk TV. The one and only queen is in the building, Miss Tree Dolman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. You always make me feel so special. Thank you.
You are special because you're the queen. Yeah, so it's funny because like a guy, one of my clients actually is a big sports fan, and he watched the show from time to time. I'll give him a big shout out, Mr. Gregory. Gregory, appreciate you. He says to me today, he says, "Well, you got a lovely lady co-host," and I said, "Yeah, she's the queen." I said, "She's a real queen." He said, "Really?" I said, "Yes, she's Ms. America International." Just so that you know, he thought I was joking. I said, "She even has the crown. She wears it not too often, but every now and then."
That's true, and you will get a treat, and I guess he will get a treat because when we do the community spotlight, I will have on my sash and crown.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. See, that's why I had to have the shades on, ready to go, to make sure that the glitter didn't blind me. So we are ready. Yeah. So as always, a great weekend in the world of sports. Before we do that, did you enjoy your weekend and anything special that you might have done that you would tell us about?
Yes, actually, I outside of working, I have the wonderful opportunity. I sit on the board of Corners Outreach, and Sunday we had an event where we honored a lot of youth that are doing great things in the program with education, and they asked me to come speak, and so I was able to wear my sash and crown and put smiles on people's faces. So it was really nice to speak at their event, and it really just brought joy to my heart.
As it should. It's always good when you're able to get out and about. I had to kind of adjust my camera. My head was really big there for a minute on on the camera, so I had to kind of make an adjustment there. Yeah, so it was pretty good weekend for myself. I went and got something to eat. I actually ventured out into the real world.
Okay, how was that?
Uh, it was nice. It was a little scary, because we went to a location where it was a very popular spot and we had to wait a long time. And so I finally told people, okay, listen, you can give us the outside, but if that's not going to be available for a long while, you can give us the indoor with the social distancing. So we went for the gusto, and once the panic got off me, I was able to eat my sandwich and enjoy my company. But no, it was pretty good. I mean, restaurants right in Midtown, nice location. They did have it set up so that you could do outdoor dining. And it looked, like I said, it looked like 2018. I mean, most of the people did wear masks because that was the requirement. You had to wear a mask when you entered. You had to wear a mask when you ordered with the servers. So, I mean, kudos to them for doing a great job of that. And then most of the people outside, they waited. If they were near, like, and they had the benches, if they were near someone, they kept their mask on. If there was no one else next to them, they didn't. So, I mean, for the most part, I mean, like I said, people seem to be behaving themselves. So it was good stuff. It was good to be out in the sunshine, beautiful day on Sunday. So it was all good.
Yes, before all the rain came.
Yeah, we got out there before the rain. By the time it started raining, we're already back. We had to be. So Thank God for that. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was good stuff. And then of course we continue to see some great sports action here in Atlanta as the Hawks continue to do their thing. And we're actually going to have our good buddy Deshaun come on and talk to us about the Hawks. Also, what else happened? We had the final days of the draft as well. So we had all those final rounds. And you know who? Esquire par excellence, Mr. D. Orlando Ledbetter will be joining us to talk about his thoughts on the Falcons draft and whether it was, as everybody talked about, an A plus. Matter of fact, let's put that up on the screen here. Let me get my regular glasses so I might see more clearly. Okay. And here we go. So, yeah, what we're going to talk about today, there it is, guys. You can see it right there. We're going to be talking about, number one, the Braves play is a little spotty, but they are still near the top of the NL East, so no need for Braves fans, I don't think, to panic. The other thing is the Hawks continue their run to the playoffs. And then also, Community Spotlight, we're going to get an update from Tree about her nonprofit's new website, if it's up and running yet. She'll talk to us about that. And also, if she has launched the store that we can buy bracelets. So we'll have her talk to us about that and give her an update. We're, of course, going to talk about the NFL draft, recap, and take away your thoughts on the draft. For those of you who like to chime in with us, we'd love to have you join us. And then thoughts on the Falcons 2021 draft. Is it, in fact, an A plus, like a 2 or 3 of the pundits rated it? So we'd like to get your feedback on that. And you guys can tell us what you think about all the good stuff that is going on in the world of sports and what happened all throughout the week. So like I said, it's always good to come off of these big weekends. As a matter of fact, Tree, did I hear Atlanta United is playing as well? That's what I heard.
Oh, nice. I didn't know
Yep.
that.
Yep, I heard they're playing what they call the CONCACAF tournament. So the games don't like really count towards the MLS standings, but it gives them a chance to kind of, it's kind of like a preseason on steroids. The CONCACAF is something it really is, because you can't just like throw anybody out there, because the games do count to some degree in this tournament. You can advance and win a trophy, which they did a couple of years ago. And they really primarily play against other national teams from around the Caribbean and from Mexico. So they're playing some top caliber competition, but it's a weird thing. They use something called aggregate, like goals. So like after 2 games, whatever team has the most goals scored in the 2 games, they advance. So it's kind of a weird thing. And unfortunately,
Yeah, that is weird.
they got the break speed off them in the first match. I think they got beat like 3-0. So in order for them to advance, they would actually have to win tonight by like 5-1.
Really?
Yeah. And your face and expression tells the story. Probably.
What?
Yeah, because when I said that, I want to get the Tree response. Really?
It's possible. Now I know that thing is possible.
Yeah, but highly improbable that they're gonna win 5-1. And like you said, you just kept it real. You didn't try to cover it. You didn't try to put any kind of sports talk spin. You just look right at the camera with that look like, nah, bro.
Yes, it's difficult to do, but it can be done.
You like, that's not gonna happen tonight. But like you said, the good thing is that all in all, Atlanta sports is there's a lot of buzz going on. Between the Falcons draft, like I said, the Braves are back. Oh, the other thing is, I know that we ask me periodically about what's happening with the COVID. The Braves are going full stadium effective May 7th.
Oh, nice. So they're going full stadium May 7th.
Yeah, full capacity May 7th. So everybody and their brother can go. So I think you still have to wear your mask. And I think they're still going to check you with the temperature reading and that kind of stuff when you get there. But yeah, you can go and see the Braves. The Hawks, I think, are still at 15 or 20% capacity, I think. So, and they have about maybe 4 more games left that people can go. So if you want to go, I know you're saying you're going to watch from afar.
I will continue to watch from home.
Amen. I did do another thing. So if you remember, we used to broadcast from the Holiday Inn and Suites in Stockbridge. I did go back and stop by there. I will say it did feel good to kind of, be at our home away from home. And I'm not going to try to say it's next week. I'm not even going to say next month. But we do hope to, at least me, be there and kind of like host a broadcast from there.
I'm glad you put that spin on it.
Yep. Yeah, because we wanted to see you keep smiling, because that I would have got that frowny face like, bro, I'm not coming. You're gonna be by yourself. So, so, so at the end of the day, yeah, I'm gonna. Who is it? Home Depot and a couple other places have these shields that you see inside the supermarkets. So I'm gonna probably get a couple of those and put them around me so I have my own little bubble. And really, right now, they don't get necessarily a lot of traffic in the lobby area, especially when we're on. So yeah, look forward to me being back at some point in the near future at the Holiday Inn and Suites. Stay tuned. I'll be there by myself in the bubble. But you'll be able to see Miss Dolman, like you always do, right here with her smiling face on camera from far away, from far away from the potentially infected masses. She's like, nope, I won't be there. Oh, hey, want to give a big shout out to guys at WIGO. If you guys are streaming today, we want to give you a big shout out as well. So, Treat, the other thing too is I know that as time has gone on with our broadcast, I know that down the road that you're going to plan to kind of bring some different people on, talks about some of the good things that are going on. So I'm not going to give too many tidbits, but I know you got some stuff up your sleeve.
I do. I have a lot of things up my sleeve. I have a lot of great people coming on the show, and it's going to be really exciting for them to come and tell you the great things that they're doing in the community and just the great people that they are. So keep tuned for that. It's really going to be exciting.
Well, we can't wait. And the other thing we can't wait for is we have to take a quick break. We do it. We try to do it about every 15 minutes or so, as you do on radio and even on TV. You listen to the Real Talk Sports Show. Keep it locked right here. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go nowhere, please. Thank you. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
All right, we are back here. Head still bobbing. Commercial.
I like that song.
Yeah, I really do. It's got a nice little beat to it. But I've been having some problems lately. Facebook keeps flagging me for like violations. These are like I got these songs off like a YouTube, and they're supposed to be like royalty free. So I don't know what's going on, but they keep. Yeah, here it says like, ownership link has been added to your video by content owner. That's what it says. Which I don't care they do that. I just don't want to block the audio. So I guess that's
Yeah.
all right. So we're good. Okay. All right. So those of you watching, if it's you, believe me, I'm not trying to steal your music. Okay, which is just for background purposes only. So just stay with us. All right. So yeah, talk a little basketball. The Hawks continue to do their thing in spite of all the injuries. And we're hearing some stuff about possibly Cam Reddish may or may not be back at all this season. So what do you think about the fact that one of their main young guns may not be returning?
Yeah, honestly, for me, that was always a possibility just with all of the injuries that they've had. I never really thought that we would get 100% of the team healthy this season. This has really been a tough season for injuries. And so I really didn't see that happening. I was hopeful, so I'm not really surprised. The good thing about that, though, is that the team has been playing well, even though they're not at full capacity. And so they have their ups and downs. But after the game that they had last night, I'm hopeful that they can still do very well in the playoffs.
Yeah, so they look strong. I mean, they've continued to play extremely well in spite of all the injuries, in spite of all the things that have happened. It's really amazing to see just how well they have played without their full complement. But the cool thing is, as they've gotten key players back, like Gallinari and Bogdanovich, these guys have stepped up in a huge way, especially Gallo and Bogey. Both of them combined, I think, for about 50 points in the win last night. So, I mean, these guys they're lighting it up.
They are on fire. I mean, oh my goodness, it's just amazing. I love watching it. It makes the three look so easy.
No, it really does. And so that we're going to ask Deshaun when he gets on. Hopefully, be able to join us while we're still in the Hawks segment. But one of the things that's going to come up is people nationally talk about Trae Young, and of course, they're always going to link him to Luka Doncic because of the way that whole draft thing kind of went down. But I think some of the reason why sometimes people don't give him the credit that he's due. If you remember last year when Collins was out, and I think it's one of the reasons why he was elected All-Star team, he was really in many games a dominant player. I mean, he was doing. I hate to kind of use these, comparisons because even Steph said himself it's not fair, but he was doing Steph Curry-esque types of things. If you remember when Collins was out, I mean, he's putting up 40 points, 15 assists, 5 rebound games. I mean, he was just doing crazy stuff. He was hitting from which he still does occasionally this year, but his 3-point percentage seemed to be a little bit better this year. And I get the fact that we have certainly much better scoring firepower, but he seems to have taken almost a step back in his ability to dominate the game. What do you think about what you've been seeing out of Trae Young?
I love what I see out of Trae Young, and I'm not so sure that I wouldn't say. I mean, I know that's what it looks like for fans, is that he's taken a step back from dominating the game. But I just think that a lot of people have to realize that when you're a player, you also have to look at the different roles of different players on the team and what's best for the team. And I think that with the team that we have this year, there's not a huge need for him to do the same things that he did last year. And especially with the new coach, when Nate came in and he talked with all of the players about their different roles. And one of the things that I recall him saying about Trae, because Trae was always trying to, I guess, force things or just be the one to take control. And he doesn't have to do that with this team. And we can see that it's working. So we have great shooters. And I can also see the comparison with Steph, because I also think of him as a young Steph, which I know is not fair to him because we all know how great Steph Curry is. But I see a lot of impressive things in him with that. So I'm very pleased with the play that I see from Trae. He works very hard. Coming back from the ankle injury that he just went through, watching him every time he's out on the court, I'm just like cringing every time he goes up, hoping he doesn't land on another foot. But I'm very pleased with the play that I see from Trae, and I just think that he's still doing a great thing to help the team win. I don't see where he just has to score 40 points every game to get the W's.
Yeah, I think that a lot of us get caught up in these big stats, and but at the end of the day, Nate McMillan, that was one of the things I think that helped John Collins turn the corner. Is he really kind of put upon the point. If you remember about 2 weeks ago, Collins was at comeback. He was having a decent game, and then they took him out in the fourth quarter and didn't play him hardly at all. And there was a lot of pushback to why you didn't play him and so forth. And Nate McMillan said, listen, the reason why I didn't play him is because we had a rhythm. The team we were on a good roll, we were winning. And he said, that's the thing I've been trying to impress upon the players, that the key thing is for the team to win. Okay, yes. We don't care who is the high scorer. We don't care who is the leading rebounds. It's all about winning. Like I said, I think because the contract situation, it looked initially at John was a little bit in his feelings, but it seems like he's come around now because he's playing now more like the John Collins we saw, a couple of years ago. Every game's a double-double. He's doing everything they asked him to do. The biggest thing is he's really improved his outside shooting. So now you're not history about being a big man or big woman, that being able to be to be able to score from the inside and outside. I mean, how important is that he can kind of continue to do that, especially with Clint Capella around?
I mean, that's huge because if you think about it, it spreads the floor. And so you have the option. You're either going to step out on him, and if he's making shots, which he has been making shots from around the arc, if he's making those shots, then defense has to come out and guard him, because if they don't, then you're leaving him wide open to make that shot. So it's like, pick your poison. And then if they do step out, then you can get Clint cutting, and then he can pass to Clint, which I love Clint's cuts and his awesome dunks and the alley-oops that they throw him. So it's a win-win for the Hawks. But anytime that you have a big man who can score on the perimeter, you can't ask for anything better than that. Big man or one man.
That's right. Make it plain. Well, I tell you just now, it got made plain behind me. I don't know if you guys could hear it on the microphone, but we got, a thunder boomer right behind me. I literally, thankfully you were on camera, I just jumped about an inch out of my seat.
Really?
I mean, because I try to keep the studio quiet, obviously, so we don't have a lot of feedback. And I mean, all of a sudden, boom, and I'm like, oh snap, is my window going to fall in? I mean, what's up? Yeah, so that was a little wake up call there from Mr. Simmons. But yeah, I mean, I and looking at this team, I think you're right. It's if you look at this team carefully, without the hyperbole, without trying to be a homer, this team has the potential, even the way it sits right now, if a completely healthy Hawks team can play with anybody in the East, and they'll give pretty much anybody in the West some run. The only problem they might have is against, teams like the Lakers that can give you that ginormous front line that they can run out there with those trees. But other than that, man, I mean, no disrespect to KD and Kyrie Irving, and even James Harden. I know these guys are three dominant players, but the Hawks, their ability to, as you mentioned, space the floor. You got two players that are a double every night. You got from the guard position guys that can shoot and score, and of course, we haven't even talked about the fact that without basically the instant scoring machine, Lou Williams is still winning.
Lou Willville, he comes in and dominates. When the Hawks are playing great, I think they can play with anybody, honestly.
Yep.
So
yeah, no
we just have to wait and see what position they get in the playoffs. Hopefully they can get to a spot where they do not have to have a play-in game.
Yeah, you want that play-in game.
Yeah, but it's just all about their hard work and them playing together. So if we can continue to see what we've been seeing through them, watch out.
No doubt.
How you start is how you finish. And we are playing great towards the finish line.
No doubt about that at all. And right on time here, I believe a young gentleman has slid into the green room. He is well known across the nation now. That's not hyperbole. He's been on multiple talk shows, both radio and TV, across the United States. He is one of the leading basketball experts in the country. He's a young gun on the rise, but we call him our basketball savant. The one and only Deshaun Tate is in the building. Deshaun, what's cooking, man?
Man, no, I appreciate you you guys for having me. Listen, I know it looks crazy optically. Listen, I'm in Palm City right now, West Palm Beach. So I'm kind of the benefits of working remotely, if you will. But listen, I'm glad to hear that you guys are safe, or to see that you guys are safe, and just got off the telephone with some of my family there in the Metro Atlanta area and making sure because of weather purposes and everything. But I'm here. I know I'm a little late. So we're going to have to change my name from Deshaun Tate to Deshaun Late at some point. Please forgive me. Charge it to my head and not my heart, please, and thank you.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I was about to kind of give you a new nickname. I try to call you Savant. I'd have to come up with something else. You like to slide in late man or something. I don't know. But anyway, listen, so you heard some of the conversation between Trey and myself. Kind of like to get your take on where you see the Hawks are right now. We're just basically 2 weeks before the end of the season.
Man, this team looks good. I mean, listen, had I told you that they were going to be in the position that they're in, with the injuries that they have, all without seeing the players that they acquired through free agency as well as in trades, not all being on the floor at the same time. Like, that's the part that I think a lot of people don't remember and that they forget. We haven't seen this team together completely healthy or even remotely close to that just yet, and still trying to develop and establish that chemistry as well. Adding Lou Williams to the mix, still trying to figure that piece out as well. For where this team is going and everything that they've been through and so forth, all the sacrifices made and everything else, you got to tip your cap, man. If I was to give them a grade, I think it's really hard not to give them an A. I really believe that. Whether you call that A+, A minus, it's hard not to give them that.
Yeah, no doubt. This team has done, I think, everything that we wanted and more. This is what I think the management expected and hoped for when they made the move and put the change to put the new coach in, Nate McMillan, and it's been as advertised. I want to say I think they have, and you might correct me, the best record or one of the top records in the league since he's
Correct.
taken over.
That is correct. That is correct. And listen, I don't even think it's just been about what the Hawks have done. I think it's also about the way that they've done what they have done.
Right.
And I think that that's something that speaks volume. Not only is it impressive, but even more so, it's like they haven't even scratched the surface just yet. I mean, think about this. At one point in time, especially entering the season, between three players, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, and Kevin Herter, there wasn't much separation between many of those guys. DeAndre Hunter came out, looked like outstanding, a totally different player from a year ago. Then he got hurt, not really sure what was going to happen with the other guys. Kevin Herter's been coming on a lot better lately. Listen, on the defensive side of the ball, getting some steals and so forth, really getting after it, creating second chance points, going after loose balls and second chance opportunities and so forth. Even shooting the basketball. I think if you go back and you look at his shooting, maybe not necessarily just efficiency, but even more so a shot selection and attempts and things of that nature. In comparison to Trae Young, they're very close. They're very similar. So I think that that's just a testament to what he's been able to bring to the table as well. Still haven't seen the best of Cam Reddish yet. Still haven't seen the consistency between Danilo Gallinari and Bogdan Bogdanovic and Clint Capella. I mean, all of these different things, I think it's just boding well and a lot of optimism and positivity reasons for it when it comes to this Hawks franchise.
Trey, I know you got to pick his brain about some stuff, so fire away, Miss Dolman.
Well, first off, I want to say enjoy Florida for me because I'm pretty sure that the weather is awesome down there. I can tell by your outfit that you're wearing. So please make sure you soak up some sunshine for me as well.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much. I definitely will do that, more than enough for all of us. It's funny because I'm sure you guys are familiar with Florida. It rains, scattered showers here. I've been here for about 9 or 10 days. Not a drop, not an ounce of water has fallen out of the sky yet. So hopefully I'm not jinxing myself. Want to keep my fingers, toes, and eyes crossed. Hopefully that don't be the case. But even more so, I just think that outside of getting bit up by the mosquitoes pretty bad, but outside of that, it has been great. It's been a good experience so far, having a lot of fun. Please forgive me about the way that I'm dressed. And listen, as long as my mom doesn't see this, Rev, please don't send this to my mom or to my grandmother because they will take that belt off in any second and you know better than to do this. But outside of that, I'm really glad to be on with you guys. And listen, talking about this Hawks team, and I'm sorry I get a little overwhelmed. I just get excited when we're talking about basketball. That the fact that this is a Hawks team that played Portland, I was a little skeptical about yesterday's game because they came off of a 3-game losing streak, ended up being a Chicago team that needed a win just as bad as Atlanta did when it comes to getting inside the playoffs and sticking, but even more so playing a Portland team that is extremely dangerous when they are completely healthy. There is no Nurkic, or there is no Zach Collins, or there is no Dame, or there is no CJ. All of the guys are healthy, still coming away with adding a number to the left side of the result column. Then one of probably the biggest challenges of the season, certainly within the games that are remaining. You got the Phoenix Suns coming in within the next 24 hours or so, on the road to Indianapolis, which that's their last. They get 5 out of the next 6 games, last 6 games, all at home. So there's some good things that's happening in Atlanta right now, and I'm just happy that we can all kind of be a part of this.
Yeah, man, no doubt. It's been fun stuff seeing the Hawks do what they got to do. And Tria said it a gazillion times, and it's because the whole thing is, her favorite thing is about the heart, right, Tree?
That's right. The heart is what matters, whether you think you can or you think you can't. Either way, you're right.
That's correct. Well, we on social media there. We can see Esquire Parks Lance, D. Orlando Lebrett says, hey, see y'all in a few minutes because we're going to be talking some football. But Deshaun, hang on, don't go away. We got to take a quick little break in the action. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. Every broadcast to you from every place we can. So keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere, please. Thank you.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice. Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net.
Yeah, that Lincoln app thing is pretty cool. For those of you who are not familiar, Lincoln has stepped up their game. They now have that ultra luxury like the European boys. If you live within 30 miles of the dealership, you don't even have to come into the dealership. You can simply, if you like, put on your shades, go to the app on your phone, press in appointment, please. They will set an appointment for you. They will send the driver out with a loaner vehicle, pick up your vehicle, service it, clean it, and send it back to you with no muss, no fuss. Again, call yours truly, 678-410-9833, and I will give you your personal Lincoln concierge treatment when you buy your car. And how about that? Yeah, so anyway, getting back to some sports. Yeah, so it's what do you think now if the Hawks go ahead and get that fourth place and get that home court advantage, what's going to be the key for them to knock off who's ever in the number 5 spot and advance to the second round? Deshaun, I'll ask you first.
Okay, I was gonna say ladies first. My
Oh,
mom
no,
and
hands
my
up. You
grandma.
no, you know what? No, you're right. No,
Mama and grandma ain't gonna have it no other way.
Excuse me, you're right. Let me go ahead and straighten that up.
It is your show. It is your show. I don't want to tell you what to do.
No, because I have people watching me as well, and so we don't want to do that. So, the Queen, the floor is yours.
Well, I think that it will be huge for the Hawks to clinch the 4th spot because we know that home court advantage will definitely give them a lot of the energy that they'll need during tough times in the game. And I think that big keys for them will be to continue to play great defense. If they can play defense and make great stops, block shots, and keep rebounding, that will be key in giving us more possessions. And then on offense, just keep giving the balls to 13, Trey. I mean, oh my goodness. Look at how we're lighting it up from the 3. If we can continue to shoot the ball the way that we're shooting the ball, and on the few times that we do miss, because our percentage is very good for shooting the ball and our baskets made, get rebounds so that we can continue to put in the basket in the hoop. I think that we will definitely go far in the rounds. I'm not sure how far I think we will go, but I think that we can definitely win at least the first 2 rounds.
Okay, Deshaun, the floor is yours, sir. What do you think the Hawks have to do to, get past that first round into the second round?
Yeah, I think that the number 4 spot is obviously the most ideal for them. Not even just to get a home court advantage, kind of like what Tree was saying. But in addition to that, that always kind of tends to be somewhat of the more somewhat favorable matchup, depending on who's in place right now. And if I'm mistaken, it'll be somewhere right around that New York Knicks, which is certainly a winnable series, regardless of whether it's favorable or not. And even maybe the Boston Celtics, which they actually have some history of playing in very close series as well. So with that being said, I think that that's probably the most ideal for them. Obviously, make sure that I think that getting stops is where it starts first. Try not to get overwhelmed by not necessarily having the experience that a lot of the other teams with particular roster players, key players that log in a ton of minutes do have. Try not to get overwhelmed by the fact that you don't necessarily have that, and just try and go out there and continue to be physical. Continue to play with an edge, a chip on your shoulder. Try not to get too cute, like that little fluffy dog that jumped up there behind Tree. And when she was speaking just a second ago, but listen, I think that's something to me that is key for this team. Defense first, because as you know, in the playoffs, the possessions start to become more critical. The game starts to slow down. It starts becoming more about half-court offenses, not as much nearly about, getting out of transition and up and down nearly as much. We're going to find out exactly what kind of coach you have. It's much like the NCAA tournament. It starts to really become about some of those veteran pieces, also about the guards, the depth on the bench, who's showing up when other guys are not, some of the coaches and things like that. Who's the person that's in this locker room as well that when things are not necessarily going their way is going to step up, speak out, and be vocal? So far, to my knowledge, from what I've been told, that player has been Solomon Hill, which I think is amazing. But even more so, I think that is just going to what we have to do. Long story short, what we have to do, you got to give credit to the Hawks. If you would have told me coming into this year, not last year, because a lot of people thought what we were going to see this year is what we was going to see last year. What we've seen from this year, I thought probably as good as it's probably really going to get was a number 7 seed coming into the year. They're
Right.
like at the 4 or 5 range with injuries. So they have not only met a lot of the expectations, but for people like me, exceeded a lot of people's expectations. And I think that no matter what they do going forward from here, that they've definitely positioned themselves for the future to have something to go off of in terms of leaving a lot of optimism on the floor.
Yeah, no doubt. I think really the big key for these guys is they're going to have to continue to do what Nate has done pretty well, and that unfortunately our previous coach Lord Peace was not able to do. That is make in-game adjustments, and to be able to not just necessarily critique the team, but to keep them on task. What do I mean by that? So if you remember a couple of games ago, the Hawks were able to win the game by going to really their bread and butter, which is the pick and roll. And so there was a time there where kind of game was starting to get away from him in the fourth quarter. Nate McMillan put the timeout, and he was like, look, pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll. And so by able to make those kind of adjustments to keep them again on task and to work what Tree talked about earlier, the floor spacing that you get when you have a Gallinari, when you get a John Collins who's now extended his game, so he's now one of their better three-point shooters. All these types of things, that they can continue to space the floor when you're paying the teams that have maybe an advantage for you on the bigs, it forces those bigs to come out. It challenges them to try to guard your guys out on the perimeter, and it takes them away from being the rim protectors. So if they can do that, man, I think the Hawks, you're right. I think the Hawks have as good a chance as anybody to continue to advance into the later rounds. Well, listen, brother, before we have you go, we want to bring in our big gun for football. This gentleman is a great guy off the field, but he's done some tremendous things on the field. A first-round draft pick from an HBCU, Fort Valley State. That's right, the same Fort Valley State that produced the legendary Jerry Rice. He later went on to be drafted in the first round by the Carolina Panthers, but then made the transition to one of the dominant teams in football history, the New England Patriots, and won not one, but 2 world titles, playing a total of 14 years in the NFL. He is one of the great DBs that knows how to do it big. Now the assistant defensive back coach for Clark Atlanta. You know who I'm talking about. The one and only Tyrone Poole is in the building. What's going on, sir?
How we doing, good people? How we doing, good people? Hello to all those that are watching and those that are listening. Hello, Miss Tree. How you doing?
Good. All right. How are you doing, Tyrone?
Excellent, excellent. Mr. Tate, how you doing, sir? All right, thumbs up, baby, thumbs up. You sound like the airport. Bring that plane in. That would they have that. Bring that plane in. Bring it in. And how you doing, Minister?
You know, man, I'm just happy to see everybody here. And you called it, because Deshaun is in fact out of town, as you can see by his casual gear. Got the tank top out there chilling in Florida. So I had to put my glasses on and pretend I was in Florida, just to soak some of that in.
Don't
yeah,
judge
man.
me. Don't judge me.
No, listen, brother, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm glad that you're able to enjoy it, and I'm also glad that you're able to, be able to take some time with us and get on there, even though you're out of town traveling and doing your thing. So that's it. Well, Mr. Poole, listen, man, before we shift to football, have you had a chance to watch these Hawks? And if so, what's your thoughts about this team that's clearly headed to the playoffs?
Man, you know what? I'm still upset with the draft, HBCU. So we're gonna talk about that. So,
Wow.
but anyways, to answer your question, to me, I'm like, I only have one mindset. Until you win a championship, to me, you haven't succeeded. So, that's just my mentality. I'm like, you either win it all or you don't. It's kind of like the movie Talladega Nights. If you ain't first, you last. So, you know what? Good that the Hawks are having a good season, but you know what? You don't play basketball just to play. You play basketball to win the NBA title. So come back to me after the finals, and I'll tell you my thoughts.
Wow. I'm glad I had these shades on. Doggone it. He just said he don't care what they doing. If there's no title,
No
of course,
title
look,
don't matter.
here's why, folks, because he knows all about that. See hiding in the background there. You see him sometimes. See all those helmets? See those two things right there? Those two items are Super Bowl trophies that you only get when you win the whole daggone thing.
Yeah, praise God, man. But hey, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Whether it's hockey, baseball, you try to get that Stanley Cup in hockey, baseball, the World Series, NBA, the finals, NFL, the Super Bowl. So you want to be a champion. If you don't climb that mountain, then really you got to go back and just do inventory and say, how do we get to that mountain? So to me, that's what it's all about. So as a player, I would say come back and talk to me after the season is over, and I'll tell you my thoughts. But right now, it's good that the Hawks are in positioning themselves to at least get to the finals. But, we will see. We shall see. That's why they play the games.
Well, Deshaun, I guess he until he sees some rings, he's not really, I guess, showing them too much love.
No. I'm showing them love now. I'm born and raised here in Georgia. The Falcons. I remember when they wore all that red. And I remember Fulton County Stadium. I remember the Atlanta Braves. Dale Murphy, Bob Horner. I remember the Atlanta Hawks. You got Dominique Wilkins, Spud Webb. I remember that. Hey, I'm a Georgia boy. I'm a Georgia. But at the end of the day, when you have been introduced to steak, nothing else really cuts it. So until I see a steak, then that's when I'd be like, yes. But the Falcons almost had it. But man, 28-3, they let it go. They dropped the ball.
Wow. He said steak or break. That's it.
Steak or break, baby.
He broke it down right there. Well, look, man, Deshaun, I know that you got a lot going on. And like I said, I'm glad that you were able to kind of peek in with us, man, while you were down in Florida enjoying yourself. So as we always do it, sir, we want to make sure that people know how to find out more about you, website, social media. So, Deshaun Tate, the floor is yours.
Thank you much. I appreciate you for bringing me on. And just anywhere you find your favorite podcast, it's called Tate's Take. We call it the best, the most informational, the most educational, and the most entertaining basketball content on the planet in the form of a podcast. Don't believe me? Just go check it out for yourself. There's always a platform, and we kind of put this out there so people can allow their voices to be heard as well. You never know who you're going to get as far as a guest on the show. So go and check it out. Subscribe anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Again, it's called Tate's Take. Tell everybody where they can go and find it. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, tell your mama, tell your grandmama, tell your baby mama, everywhere that you can find it. Go and follow along on our social media platforms as well. Tate's Take Hoops, TATES, TAKEHOOPS, and we like to call it Where Basketball Lives. So, Rev, thanks again for having me. Tree, beautiful Tree. Listen, keep being you, keep doing you, keep it beautiful as you always do. And Mr. Poole, it's a pleasure to be able to be on this platform with you for the first time as well. Many blessings and prosperity to all of you.
Likewise.
Thank you so much. You too.
He got it all in. That's what I'm talking about. Amen. Well, listen, bro, like I said, we appreciate you. Safe travels, and we look forward to having you back on as we continue, man, because these Hawks, I think they're going to make a little run, especially if everybody's healthy. I think they're going to shake up the world. I mean, if they play the Celtics, like you said, people don't know. Twice the Celtics have come in here when they were 1 seed and the Hawks were the 8 seed, and they were 7-game extravaganzas. Some of the best basketball I've ever seen. I mean, no disrespect to all these other great teams, but those 7-game series were knockdown, drag out, slugfest, and it was just must-see TV. I remember going and watching all 3 of the games they played here at home, including the game 6 that made them go back to the Garden before Boston knocked them off. So yeah, man, many fans here would be more than happy to see Gang Green come on down here and try to knock off the Hawks. All right, man, listen, until next time, bro, God bless you and have a great rest of the night.
Peace. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Yeah, man, so great stuff. I mean, going on with those Hawks, like you said, again, it's been crazy. I know Tyrone said he wants to see that ring, but of course he knows he's just, he's like everybody in Atlanta, star for that championship, but he knows it's a process that teams have to build. And any great team, they have to kind of take those steps. The Hawks seem to be taking the right steps and making the right moves to get themselves to a championship level. What we're going to do, guys, we're going to take a little mini break here. Then we're going to get reset to talk a little football, NFL draft, and it does appear that Mr. Poole has got something to say about the NFL draft and HBCUs, but you won't know unless you keep it locked right here for more of the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be back in just a moment.
I'm mad.
Nothing better than the sound of diesel in the morning. And what better place to get high horsepower diesel than the all-new 2020 Ford F-250, now with 475 horsepower and over 1,000 foot-pound of torque. You know where to get it? From me, the minister, Jonathan Simmons at Allen Vigil Ford Commercial Sales. Because you know why? I'm the commercial truck guy in the shirt and tie. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our #1 priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
That's right, guys. If you need the vehicle, this is the time to come. I know you guys have been hearing about chip shortages, but we still do have some cars available in stock. So if you want to come on down, give me a call again at 678-410-9833. I would love to assist you. You can see the number for those of you watching. Again, that's my cell. That is my personal cell. Please, no calls after 9 p.m. and no calls before 7 a.m., please. I'll be more happy to serve you in between those hours. But before that or after that, I probably will answer unprofessionally. So again, keep that in mind. But again, call me 678-410-9833, and we'd love to get you, your family, or even your business hooked up with a brand new vehicle. All right, Tyrone, you said you had a little issue with the draft with the NFL. Kind of what's happening, man?
Everybody's talking about this, Jonathan. This could be something that I think everybody who has a platform should be talking about. We're talking about Black Lives Matters, and everybody talking about equal rights and everything from just all across the planet. So I'm like, the NFL draft. You look at the NFL draft. Out of all 200 and whatever players that were drafted, not no free agents now, drafted. There was 0 people from HBCUs. Now, you telling me that there's no talent in the HBCU? So this is something, Jonathan, like I said, I think you should take onto your platform, because I know a lot of people wondering why is this not happening? Why are guys not being drafted? So what it does to me, it tells those who want to go to HBCUs, you know what, if you want to play in the pros, you better go to these PWIs, the predominantly white institutions, because that's how you go get into the NFL. But you know what? You can make it from the HBCU if they were to do the right thing. And when I say they, meaning, whether it's the NFL, the NBA, or what have you, talent is talent. So I'm like, there were no people, no players selected. So again, you telling me that there was no one that was worthy of a 7th round draft pick? And there were some guys that I heard were considered 3rd or 5th round draft picks, but they went in as an undrafted free agent. And you know what that means? Basically, that means you're not going to get no reps, and that means you're not going to make the team. That's basically what it means.
Definitely something to consider there. Not sure. There's some interesting information to why why did this happen? I mean, this comes up year after year after year. We had a big surge back in the 70s where people from the AFL, actually before the NFL merged, guys like Al Davis, guys like the Hunt family out of Kansas City that basically built dynasties in what later became the AFC by using, HBCU players. And now we've kind of seen that gone backwards over time. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing that we should bring up, and we'll hopefully, man, be able to get some more HBCU guys on here to talk about that as well. So, Tree, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, if you're talented, it doesn't matter if you go to an HBCU or a predominantly white institute. If you have the talent, then I feel that you should definitely get the opportunity to prove it and play at the next level. Talent is talent.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
And then I'll say this, Jonathan, you mentioned, back in the 70s, the 60s, 70s, well, the same thing. Black athletes were not permitted to go to those PWIs. So they had to go to HBCUs. So again, it still don't add up. It's still wrong is wrong. But at the end of the day, I don't know what it is, whether it's the coaching, whether it's the schemes on the HBCU levels, or the players themselves don't understand what it takes to get to the level of the NFL. And I can't believe that that's the issue. Maybe, but you know what? I just think there are a lot of athletes that have the ability to play on that next level. Just like anything, back in the day, we had to work twice as hard as our counterpart. I'm like, if we want to be the CEO, we had to work 5 times as hard. With somebody who had half the talent took the position over somebody who was worthy of the talent. So again, it's a system that is messed up from the government all the way down to sports. So, something needs to be done about it, man.
Yeah, so I mean, it's something to certainly consider. And D-Led, if you're out there, we somehow don't have you in the right green room, so we sent you another link. So try that link and see if we can get you into the main green room, because I don't see you, man. So please go ahead, check your phone. We sent you a new link so you can go ahead and pop in and join us. Yeah, man. So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, there's always been some question, to how African-American athletes and certainly other athletes from other as well, the problem perception. Certainly we saw the NFL a few years back in terms of coaches come up with the Rooney Rule, that teams need to go ahead and interview candidates in terms of African-American candidates. And we know how that has kind of went awry. Even to the point now these guys are talking about, giving draft picks and things like that. So we know the problem is there. It's just how the best way to attack it.
Yeah, and that Rooney Rule, man, that's David Chappelle right there. That's just a comedy show. I'm like, wow. They already know who they're going to pick, but they just got to go through the formality so they don't get penalized. Come on, man. Okay,
well, let's go to social media here for a second here. I think our man, aka affiliate man Todd on YouTube, has popped in and he says, "Hey, everybody." And of course, immediately he says, "Hi, y'all, the ladies." Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. D Orlando led. Okay, this is how you gonna do it, Todd. We're gonna start acting up. All right, let's go also to social media. Our good friend, the offensive coordinator, Mr. Cornell Hardy, he says you're correct, but I also feel it starts in the scouting department. And if there was one specifically focused on the HBCU, we will see improvement. Example, Shannon Sharp, Hugh Douglas, Robert Porsche, so forth and so on. Well, before we get any more into that, let's bring on the gentleman that knows more about the Falcons than anybody else. He's the embedded sports writer and beat writer for AJC. That's Atlanta Journal-Constitution Sports. He's award-winning and decorated sports writer, and he is Esquire par excellence. The one and only D. Orlando Ledbetter is now officially in the building. D-Led, we got you.
Yeah, Reverend. I was watching the show on YouTube.
Okay. We said,
link.
Right, we're like, where are you? Where are you?
I'm like, I'm right here. I'm over here. I was like, how do I get in there?
Right. Well, listen, so I'm gonna let you. We're gonna talk about the Falcons, obviously, but certainly we got Mr. Poole's got a little burr in his saddle about the HBCUs, and we're gonna zoom in on D-Led. What?
Yes.
Yeah. I was a key speaker at the combine, and so they had 33 guys there from the last 2 years. Euless Payne out of Milwaukee owns the HBCU Combine, and Coach George down at Bethune-Cookman helped to put it together. And so, because they didn't want 2 classes of players to miss, their opportunities to get drafted in the league. But, I heard Tyrone, he's exactly right. There's a lot of us in the media have been championing this from beginning. Steve Weiss and Jim Trotter at Huddle and Flow from NFL Network. All of us started at Howard covering the Howard Bison. So it's a near and dear to our heart. It was 2 guys that Brother Pooh referenced, David Moore from Grambling and Seals, the cornerback from NCC Central, that had 3rd-round grades that didn't get drafted. There were 5 other players that got signed undrafted deals. We had about 4 guys at the combine that should have got drafted, but the 5, one of them was Keon Clark, a tackle from Fayetteville State, who will be at the Falcons mini camp this week. But I know for a fact that all of the scout, on my list of Omegas in the NFL, and we all talk, and it's from general managers all the way down to a sports reporter, coaches, agents, position coaches, scouts, and they all have the HBCU numbers from the HBCU Combine, and they'll always have those numbers. So they got to work from inside. The change is going to come from inside the teams, and these other people, the Omega Men, will probably be the ones leading that change. As the players, hit the standards. That's the measurables you got to hit. I knew the kid out of North Carolina Central. He was a DN, but he was like 215. He terrorized the league at 215, but he can't play defensive end at 215. So it takes some foresight from the teams to say, well, maybe he's a safety. Maybe he's we can play him in space. We could use him another way. Like Bill Nunn used to do, scout for the Steelers y'all talked about, who recruited the HBCUs for them. Had 11 players on that Super Bowl 9 team, 3 Hall of Famers. So, and it was kind of a travesty that they went 0 for HBCUs on the same day they inducted Bill Nunn into the Canton Hall of Fame posthumously as he's passed away. He was inducted Saturday night in the middle of this draft with nobody from the HBCU's pick. And he was the one that built up the whole network that the Steelers and the Chiefs and the Raiders use that you referenced, the Reverend Simmons. So, yeah, it's a new battle. Hey, upgrade everything. Upgrade your team. Upgrade your coaches. You got Dion at Jackson State, Georgia, at Tennessee State. We got Larry Scott at Howard. Coach Larry was Cal Pitts' head position coach at University of Florida. We got the money. We don't have a problem with the money. It's just whether we're going to be able to recruit. And as we're going head to head in the middle of ACC country with Maryland on one side and Virginia on the other side. So, you're going to have to be competitive if you want to get those players that are going to make you a successful football program and make it to the NFL too.
Yeah, no doubt. There's some challenges ahead. At the end of the day, it's really easy. Basically, if you want to implement diversity, you just do it. It's not anything we got to implement a whole lot of programs. You just kind of do what you got to do. Think about this. Tree was able to be down in Orlando, and although we did this virtually, and I'm not going to get into the whys and wherefores of women over African American in these positions, but the bottom line, Tree, you were in Tampa. Both Tampa and Kansas City had women assistant coaches. Both of them.
Yes,
So at the end of the day, we know it can be done. I don't think there was a big surge for Kansas City to say, oh, let's see if we can do this. They said, hey, this is something we want to do, and they did it. All right, let's go to social media. Of course, our affiliate man, Todd, he's got to throw a couple little shots. So he says, hey, quote from D-Led last week, pitch is a smokescreen. Did you say it last week? I don't think so.
Yeah, I probably did.
All right, there we go. And we got our good buddy, Miss Elaine Armster, is showing lots of love. All right, here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to put up for you on the screen. I know those of you have seen it already, but I'm going to put this up on the screen here. if I can get it, the Falcons, all their draft picks for 2021. This is just the draft picks. D-Led's going to talk to you a little bit about a couple of key free agents, but we're going to pop up on the screen right now. Here's the Falcons picks for 2021. There should be right up on the screen where you guys can see it. I hope you can. And number one, of course, at number 4 overall was Kyle Pitts, the hybrid tight end wide receiver, best athlete available at number 4. In round 2, they had a number 40 pick. They did some trading. They got Richie Grant, safety out of University of Central Florida. Number 3 pick at the number 68 spot, Jalen Mayfield, offensive tackle out of Michigan. And then they picked up also in round 4, Drew Dahlman, another offensive guy there at the center position from Stanford. Picked up a defensive player, their second one, Darren Hall, the speedy cornerback out of San Diego State. Round 5, they finally tried to address the defensive line. They got Taquan Graham, the big, well, he's not that big, defensive tackle out of Texas. And round 5, they also went for the line trying to get an edge rusher. That's why I highlighted him. Pick number 182. I can't pronounce his name. Just to me, it's like Ogadale. He's a defensive end from Notre Dame. Also in round 5, Avery Williams, another defensive pick at quarterback from Boise State. And they capped off with their final selection in round number 6, a wide receiver, allegedly a very speedy wide receiver out of Arizona State. His coach out there was Herm Edwards. There he is. Frank Darby. All right. Got a lot of guys here. Let's go to social media really quick before I bring back the panel. H.C. Hardy says that he gives the Falcons an A overall, A+, not only because of the draft, but because of the acquisition of A.J. McCarron. Okay, I didn't think that would be a great, I know that would give you an A+, the drafting of a relatively old school style quarterback to be your backup to the old school quarterback that you have now. But nevertheless, Mr. Hardy thinks that made him an A+. All right. First of all, let's go to Ms. Stolman. Are you happy? There was a lot of defense picked. What do you think about those picks from our Falcons?
I am happy with the picks. I do have a question for D-Led, though. Yes. I was really confused when I was watching it. Don't get me wrong. I'm very happy that we took Kyle Pitts. But I thought that they were looking to get Justin Fields if he was available. So I was so shocked when he was still available and they went with Kyle Pitts, which I thought both were a great pick. But do you know why they chose not to get Justin Fields?
Yeah, they didn't like Justin Fields as much as I thought when I found that out Saturday. When I'm talking to somebody who had talked to some of the position coaches, they like Trey Lance a lot better because he can get a quick release. And, they were married to Matt Ryan, his new coaching staff, and we should have known that based off of the salary cap. But we were still rating the players. Justin Fields is the second best quarterback in the draft, and he got to hang around to the 11th pick. And Chicago is acting like they got Michael Jordan up there. So, we had the players ranked correctly, but the Falcons, didn't have them ranked the way everybody else did.
Okay.
We got back to social media. Our good buddy Todd also asking the question about the draft. He says, why did they pass on the running back out of Carolina? A lot of people thought they were going to get him in the second round, young Mr. Williams, who seems to be the prototypical back for this type of offense.
Yeah, they traded their pick to Denver so Denver could take him, and Denver took him with an Atlanta pick, so he was available for them. But they were pretty intent on taking Richie Grant, the safety from UFC from Central Florida. So they thought they could trade back, pick up another pick, and get another player that they need, the lineman, in the draft. So they did kind of go need there. And also, they must feel okay about Mike Davis as their number 1 back.
Okay, Tyrone, you saw they drafted a couple of defensive backs. I know you've been very, very busy, but what do you think about those guys as far as the cornerback, the young man out of San Diego State, and also the safety out of UCF?
Well, again, myself playing as many years that I have, numbers don't mean nothing. Until you step on that field and you actually get some playing action and they're able to see you, that's when it starts to really count, and I really started to pay attention. The numbers, speed and strength and how many times you do 225, that opens the door for you. But then you have to get on that field and see what you can do against other people who are just as fast as maybe you are. So that's why even in the first year, the rookie year, I really don't count that year. I don't count that year. I don't care who the player is, especially at quarterback. You don't count that year. The reason why I say you don't count that year, as far as their productivity, they can have a phenomenal rookie season, defense, offense. The reason why I say you don't count it is because they do not have film. No, that's their first year. So after that first year, that's why they used to call it the sophomore slump. The sophomore slump is because after that rookie year, you got a full season of footage, and these coaches get paid. They get paid. I say it again, they get paid to find your weaknesses and break you down. So when you come back your sophomore year, that's why people usually have that sophomore slump. So again, it's good that these guys got picked. I'm happy for them, elated for them. I've been there, coming from an HBCU, but at the end of the day, it's what you do on the field that really gets you that, thumbs up.
Yeah, no doubt. And so I guess my question is you talk about how the Falcons judge different players. Everybody said that the young man, I think is Trayvon Mooring from TCU, was the dominant guy at that safety position, and they picked a guy that most people ranked as the number 3 or 4 guy at that position, and basically bypassed him. So I guess I get confused every year with the Falcons that somehow their brain trust always seems to be smarter than anybody else on these types of picks. So I don't know, D-Lev, what are your thoughts about this young man? Everybody said that he's a thumper as far as he's good, as far as the coming into the box and playing against the run. They say he's a very, very sure tackler, but there's some suspicion about his ability to cover in space. And is that the kind of player you really want at your safety position?
Yeah, no, the knock on Grant, we had him rated 4 in our rating of the top 10 safeties because he's a good cover guy, but he's a little bit shorter than you want him to be. So going on how the league looks at measurables, that knocked him down a little bit. But yeah, his ability to hit is good. He can play in zone. You're not gonna play him in man-to-man. So you're not gonna play him in the slot on anybody small or any running back, but you might be able to get away with him on a tight end. So that's why he's kind of a hybrid safety. So he can drop down the box kind of like Keanu O'Neal, and he can play center field kind of like Ricardo Allen. So he's a mix of those two guys, as opposed to where he couldn't do nothing in space, but he'd come up and hit you in the run game. So this kid's got a little bit more coverability than that. But it's not instinctual yet. It's not anticipatory where he can know to play, read the routes and jump them. So that's going to take a little while for him to get that part of the game down and get on the field.
Let's go back to social media here. Let's go first to our offense coordinator, Mr. Hardy. We talked about A.J. McCarron before. He said McCarron may only have a 1-year contract. But he is one of the one quarterback that has been under the 3 top offensive minds in the NFL: Gruden, O'Brien, and Hugh Jackson. He should be a serviceable backup just in case anything happens to Ryan. Also, he pointed out that, which I was going to talk about, the Falcons did pick up Felipe Franks, former Gator and Arkansas quarterback. And last but not least, our offense coordinator, Todd, said he's got an odd question to D-Led. In the post-Falcons post-draft presser, the GM said only 10 in the draft room, and he heard the coaches react down the hall. Odd. I would want you all in one room.
Not during the pandemic.
Yeah.
That's why they were separated. Not during the pandemic. The league protocols were in play there. You don't need the coaches in the room anyway.
Yeah, I would think not. But I will tell you, this is kind of intriguing here. This pick of Felipe Franks, in the back of my mind, I thought to myself, the Falcons are hoping that by the time it comes time for Ryan to maybe go around they might have caught a sleeper because this guy is big. He's a strong guy. The only thing is his weak spot, which is pretty big, is that he seemed not to do well under pressure, which is why he ended up losing after injury the starting job to Kyle Trask. What do you think about the idea that Felipe Franks, D-Led number one, might make the team, and that, in fact, if he gets coached up properly, he could be the eventual heir successor to Ryan?
Well, yeah, the quarterback coach gets to pick some of the guys he's going to work with. He was going to want, somebody with some physical ability. And McCarron did start a playoff game for the Bengals. I think he held it together. Only 4 starts, though. So that's the reason, maybe he can get you through a game. But Felipe, 6'6", 228, he was our 10th rated quarterback in this year's position-by-position series. Noted that he did pretty good out at Arkansas in a bad situation. He had a good touchdown to interception ratio. But, yeah, you can't teach 6'6", 228 with a good arm. And, that's what they got. Matt Ryan, 6'5", 220. And so they got Matt Ryan close. Just to let all of y'all know, Reverend, they ain't getting no running quarterback no time soon.
Yeah, it seems that that's the case. D-Led has pressed upon that for a long time. Now, and here's the thing. I don't care what they get. I told you about this. I don't care whether they play old school drop back quarterback.
That's what they're going to do.
I'm like Tyrone. I want to see some championships, think about this. We know what Patrick Mahomes did, but Mahomes was not technically a running quarterback as Lamar Jackson was. He was a guy that ran almost like, you guys Google this up, Fran Tarkenton used to do back in the day. He'd run around in 18 circles, but the idea was for the covers to break down so he could hit a big play down the field. It wasn't for him necessarily to run unless he had to. So that's a little different. Let's go here to Mr. Poole here. We got a question again from Affiliate Man. He says about the Patriots. Did they get their quarterback for the future in the young man from Alabama? Yes or no, Mac Jones?
Again, it's proven on the field. Everybody looks good coming out of college because they're going up against collegiate talent. Once you get to the NFL, it's a totally different beast. I mean, totally different. You got 11 other guys on the other side of the ball who are just as fast. They are the 11 best players supposedly that team can find to put on the field. So, I would just say the jury is still out. And but right now, the Patriots probably feel that, Mac Jones could be the heir apparent to Tom Brady. But again, if anybody could turn anybody into anything, whether it's Cam Newton or Mac Jones, I think it's Bill Belichick. And I think at the end of the day, when they ask the question, which came first, the egg or the chicken, which came first, Belichick or Brady, I would say that Belichick poured into Brady. Brady brought his talent. Belichick poured into him. And then Tom took his abilities and just redesigned the strategies and made it his own. So, but I think if anybody could turn Mac into a good quarterback and possible future quarterback for the Patriots, it'll be Belichick.
Yeah, no doubt. So if you look at that tape, D-Led, I think you might have seen it where they did the side-by-side split screen. When you do watch Mac Jones, he does have a lot of similarities as far as the way he sets up and delivers the ball. And like I tell people, in watching these quarterbacks, one thing I will tell you, one of the reasons why the kid from BYU shot up the ranks is because when you watch him on film, that guy's release is the fastest of all these quarterbacks. I mean, that ball gets out of his hand in no time fast. So that's why he kind of shot up. Now, again, he was playing mediocre competition, but if you get the ball out quick, you get it out quick. I mean, that's even better. I mean, just you kind of get out of there. I am surprised, like Tree. I think Tree, she kind of been feeling some kind of way because she thought that Justin Fields, we'd be talking about him today. But unfortunately, no go. So, Tree, I'm going to ask you overall, we'll take Justin Fields' non-decision off the table. Are you pleased with, number one, the number of what appears to be decent players that the Falcons picked up in this draft?
Yes, I am. I'm pleased with it. Now I'm just ready to see what they're going to do on the football field.
Well, I think everybody feels the same. It's all about doing that. Okay, we're going to go back to social media. we have our good friend, Mr. Football. Vincent W. Turner has a question for Mr. Poole. He asked, what does he think about J.C. Horn's game out of South Carolina? And of course, he's the son of former Saints and Falcons wide receiver Joe Horn, who still, I think, lives in the metro area.
Well, first and foremost, just having the pedigree. That's the first thing I look at. As the old saying goes, the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree. So right away, I know he understands the mentality. That alone would allow him, JC, to be a possible phenomenal player in the NFL because he knows what to expect. He knows what it's going to be like in mini camp. He knows what it's going to be like in training camp. He knows basically how to handle his body during a long season where they would say the rookies coming from college, you got that wall. They hit that wall, meaning in college, the season is over after the 12th game. But in the NFL, it's like we're almost, we just passed halfway. So, so they hit that wall and, the body starts shutting down because that's what it's used to from 4 years in college. So, but JC, I think having his dad, Joe, to play, I'm pretty sure, I know he's been in his ear. And also it's going to help him off the field. Staying out of trouble, negotiating with his agent. So, JC got a lot of things working for him, just like Asante, working with his son. And it's just so many guys that have fathers that they can lean on, or mothers, whichever case it may be. So I think JC is setting himself up to have a phenomenal NFL career. And the only person that can mess it up is JC.
Well, just you mentioned, I'll put that DB list up again there. And as you can see, there's a lot of the seconds and so forth. We see Patrick Surtain, the second, his father played in the NFL for a long time. JC, his father played in the league. Asante, his dad played in the league. So just you can see, like you said, the pedigree across the board with those defensive backs. So all those guys that were able to achieve draft status, kudos to them. We look forward to them to be contributors on their team right away. Let's go back to social media. And Coach Hardy has said something that we've talked about on the show before with you guys, without you guys. The idea, does Matt Ryan, like most people, perform better when he got a little heat on his backside? He said the year that Matt Ryan played better, he was he had a threat behind him. He said the MVP season under Shanahan, Matt Schaub was brought in, who was very familiar with the system, and even some fans began to wonder, should Schaub be in versus Matt Ryan? What do you think about that, D-Led, about having some pressure to kind of make your game step up to the plate?
No, Schaub wasn't a starter anymore when he was brought here. He was brought here to be the backup. I mean, you had already saw him flame out in Oakland and Baltimore. He wasn't never a threat to be the starting quarterback here, and I don't remember anybody advocating for such. Yeah, Ryan just did better in that system the second year because Kyle, made him do the bootlegs, made him do the stretch runs that he didn't want to do. He didn't want to turn his back to the line of scrimmage, and they repaired their relationship over the offseason. And once things started working, they went with it. But as soon as Kyle left, you started seeing toss sweeps and stuff under Sarkisian instead of the bootlegs and the rollouts that make that offense so effective.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like you said, a lot of people question the quarterback coach they had in place to whether he could be an offensive coordinator. Well, it turns out now he's a pretty good offensive coordinator, but he's a darn good head coach as well. And of course, he's got a Hall of Fame quarterback to run it up there in Green Bay. But certainly they had things in place here. Had they continued in that, I think the Falcons would have had a better shot to win in that next season. Let's go back here to Todd. He's clearly, I got to put my shades on because he's throwing all kind of shades.
Well,
he said Falcons predict the Falcons will go 4-12. Matt will get 4,000 yards a game. No running game. When can we as Falcons fans expect a winning record? And then Mr. Football says, question for D-Led, what makes Wilson a better quarterback than Justin Fields leading up to the draft? Well, I mentioned the fact that, his release was stellar. But let's go to the first one. What do you think about the Falcons not being able to have a winning record?
Yeah, it's going to be tough this year. You can't fix everything in 1 year. So they do got a last place schedule. And you know how I do it is, and Tyrone will laugh at this, but I always look at the quarterbacks they're playing. And so you go down to home and away. You split the NFC South, so 3-3, and then you go look at the quarterbacks they got to play, and it's not a real impressive list. So if they could put most of it together, the best thing they could do would be a 2008 season where they came out of nowhere with Michael Turner running for 1,500 and Matt Ryan basically just finding the one deep safety and throwing to the other side because everybody was in the box to stop Turner. So but I don't see Michael Turner on the roster. So that's a problem. I don't know what the defense is gonna be. So yeah, you might be this year if they get back to 8-8, then that's a winning year. 8-9 was the second game, and then the coach has got a foundation, and then he can build from there.
And he said again, he asked the question, what do you think makes Zach Wilson a better quarterback than Justin Fields? I don't think you believe that. I think you think that Fields is better, right?
Yeah, no, I don't know what the hype was with this guy. He couldn't even beat Coastal Carolina's biggest game. And so, my guys, I talked to Bill Polian on how to evaluate quarterbacks. And the Bill Parcells rule is you got to play over 30 college games. You need to win 70% of your games, and then you need to complete over 60% of your passes. That guy doesn't pass the test. Trubisky at 17 didn't pass the test. The only guys in this draft, and Justin doesn't either because he missed a year. So if he would have played another year, he would have had his 30 games. But Trevor did, and Mac Jones got, passed the Bill Parcells test for grading quarterback. So, 2 of the 5, and it's always a bust. And I go all the way back to when I was covering the Bengals, David Klingler, Achilles Smith. I've seen Kay McNow, Christian Pounder, Jake Locker. So, you got to get the quarterback thing right. And too many NFL teams mess it up. They've been messed it up for years.
Well, the Jets certainly have because they just drafted Sam Darnold.
Right, they just got one. So, not expecting them to do much here either because they're going to do the same thing they did with Darnold. Get a kid, throw him out there, and then, that's the worst place in America to be front and center with, in New York with 80 people looking at you in the locker room after the game. Want to know why you said you are seeing ghosts on TV like Sam Darnold did.
Well, speaking of seeing ghosts, I don't know if you guys saw the NFL meme of him when he came out. And I forget who was coming up to get their draft position, but they kind of flashed the sign. The look on his face looked like, oh, snap. And they had the caption, "You're not in Kansas anymore." I mean, he looked petrified, like, "Yo, that a gang signal? What is that?" Yes, I mean, I guess he's not exposed to too many black people out in Utah. I think he's gonna be a little shocked as he comes to the NFL. All right, Todd, affiliate man, I'm gonna put my shades on this one, man. He talking about we need Steve Sarkisian back. Please, somebody help me with this man.
Barkowski.
Oh, Barkowski. I just see. Look at Tree laughing. I'm watching. I'm paying on Tree for a second. No, she's laughing because she knows that was caused by me wearing shades like this and not the reading glasses like these. That's what caused Bartkowski to look like Sarkisian. There you go. Just saying. So I think everybody's in the same boat. I think we all feel that it's a wait and see kind of situation. I mean, on paper, I see why everybody's giving them an A. They're talking about Kyle Pitts and this Ford, but I got to tell you one thing, and I never played down of any kind of college football, NFL, nothing, but I have never heard of a tight end leading their team to the Super Bowl. I just never heard of that. I'm just saying. I mean, so I hope this guy can do what he can do, but all those great guys he talked about that he's going to be better than, none of those guys led their team to the Super Bowl. You can talk about Tony Gonzalez, as great as he was, those great teams on Kansas City. At the end of the day, man, they flamed out. The Falcons flamed out on him. I mean, that was it. I mean, we can look at Shannon Sharp. I mean, but he wasn't because he's a Hall of Famer, but you can't say he led Denver to the Super Bowl wins. I mean, come on. So I just hope and pray that they, first of all, use this guy properly. I think, to me, every time I see everything these guys are doing D-led, you're right. It reminds me of deja vu all over again with 2008. Get yourself a big tight end safety valve. Try to get some kind of running attack where the play action can work. I do think, and you've heard me say this before, I think they need to take Quadri Allison out of the mothballs and see what you got with that kid. Mm-hmm. Because I went and checked. Now, Tyrone, like you said, is on the field is what's important, right? All right, this young man 2 years ago had 22 touches, okay? Of those 22 touches, 4 of them were for touchdowns, 6 of them were for first downs. So that means half the time this guy touched the ball, he was doing something productive. But last year, I think he fell out of favor because he's not a good pass blocker. Also, they can't use this guy. And they committed to Todd Gurley. But to me, you got a big back. See what you got with this kid. I think you got something there. All right, I'm gonna stop acting crazy. Let's go ahead. Let's go to social media one more time. I have my glasses on. Do you think Roswell High School, Liberty University, and former Auburn quarterback Malik Willis will be a top quarterback if he has a stellar year next year? I'm not familiar with that young man. Anybody who is, you can answer that question because I don't know.
Yeah, he was on my radar screen last year. I was looking at the receiver from Liberty, but I wasn't able to see him play this year. But he's somebody to keep an eye on. But we just got to keep an eye on him, see if he resurfaces out of Liberty. That's where the old coach from Blindside was at last. Hugh Freeze. Yeah.
All right, last statement out of social media. Todd says he just wants Arthur Blank to stop walking on the field during the end of the game. Oh, gosh. Leave it to affiliate, man, to close out on social media with some shade. Let me put them back on one more time. I got to read nothing else now. Let me go ahead and put it on. That was major shade. He tweeted the Falcons all day. Well, before we let everybody go, I'm just going to ask everybody real quick here. This is the too early prediction of the Falcons season record. We're going to go with the Queen first. Where do you think the Falcons went up record-wise next year? Remember they play 17 games. So what you got? I'm going to put her on the spot. Look at her. She's like, no.
I can't say at this point. I have to first see something. Let me at least see what they're doing, and then I can give you a prediction. Right now, I can't tell you.
Okay. Mr. Poole, what do you think? Give us an early prediction. Too early to be early.
Well, yeah, it is too early, but I will try to use the formula that we used to use during a 16-game season, 17 now. We would say let's try to finish at least 3-1. We would break it down in quarters. So it's 16 games, 4 quarters. Let's finish 3-1. That'll give us a 12-4 record. But just like D-Led said, the Falcons, they would be doing justice just to break half and half in the South, in the NFC South, so which means they're going to come out of there with at least 3 losses, just to go like that. So, and then you're playing against other teams that are pretty good, so are getting better. I think it's going to be a learning season for them, but anything can happen. Anything can happen. June is coming up. I'm pretty sure going to be some more trades. There's going to be some guys released for salary cap reasons. But again, I understand the Falcons are under, such stress with the salary cap. So, I don't expect too much. But again, anybody can beat anybody on any given Sunday if you can get everybody to speak the same language, understand the same way, and think the same way. Then you give yourself an opportunity to win a whole lot of games.
He led the too early to be early prediction.
Yeah, I'm 7 and 9. That's 16. So I got to throw another one in there. So 8 and 9. Because I talked about breaking down the schedule. There's not a murderer's row on there. 3 and 3. If you could somehow split in the division, then you got Buffalo. That's the only superpower you're playing is Buffalo. I was trying to pull the schedule up here real quick, but the fans can go look at it. I mean, you got Dallas, you got the NFC East this year. So they were calling them the NFC East last year. So you can make some hay if you steal some games along the way. Buffalo's the only team that was in the AFC Championship game. Any superpower that they got to play. Well, Tampa's a superpower now. We don't know who the Saints quarterback is, and you got to take both of them Carolina games because you might lose both Tampa games. So nothing on that schedule to be worried about. But like I said, we don't know if they could protect Matt Ryan yet. and we don't know what the running game's like. And coach said he's going to play the amoeba defense, so we just don't know enough about it right now.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go on the limb right here. I'm gonna say they win double digits. I'm looking for the Falcons to go 10-7 and shake up the world.
Write it down.
Right.
Right.
I know
Let's
Todd
move
is.
on.
I know Todd already did. He already put down what Rev said 10-7. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. The Falcons, I predict them for double-digit wins. I think they're going to shake up the world, and I think that they're going to get back into postseason play based on nobody getting injured. And that's my little clause. If nobody gets hurt, I think they'll be 10-7.
Put a little
No, you
clause
can't
in
do
there.
that. It's football. You know people going to get hurt.
Oh, okay. Dang, I thought I could slip out with that. All right. It's all good. All right, anyway, all right. You know this, guys, the show has come to an end. We're running overtime, as we always do. We're going to go ahead and go around the building because we know how we do this. First of all, D. Orlando Ledbetter, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Reverend. We're moving around the city a little bit now, so was able to find out some stuff about the new coaches. They want to protect Matt Ryan's priority number one, inside outside zone on offense. But just looked up the sacks: 131 sacks, 167 hits, 164 hurries over the last 3 years. So they got to fix that problem. 462 hits, and we deal with that in the Cover 9 at 9 blog on AJC.com tomorrow morning. And the Bowtie Chronicles podcast comes out at 8 a.m. A wrap up of the draft and look at tight end Kyle Pitts. Thanks for having me, Reverend. Have a great week.
There you go, guys. You can see on the ticker, AJC.com. Follow him on Twitter at TheOrlandoAJC or on Instagram at TheOrlandoLed. D-Led, as always, man, we appreciate you. God bless.
Thank you.
Peace. All right, we're going to Mr. Tyrone Poole, Super Bowl winner. The floor is yours.
Very quickly, you can follow me, Tyrone Poole 38, all social media. Thank you for having me, Reverend. Appreciate you.
Tyrone Poole. I'm going to try to see if this works. Hold on a second. I'm going to see if this works. Bam! Look at that. I got the bling. Tyrone Poole at Tyrone 38. Yes, sir.
I love it.
Yes, sir. All right, brother. We appreciate you, man. Look forward to having you back on again next week.
Thank you.
All right. For the queen, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. You can find me at It's Latresa. That's ITSLATRESA. And then also, I told you guys that I will let you know where you can purchase the bracelets that I'm doing for the fundraiser. This month is May, so it's Brain Cancer and Brain Tumor Awareness Month. I'm wearing my gray ribbon and all of my gray. So you can purchase the bracelets on shopgograyforacure.org. And they're really nice bracelets. 100% of the proceeds are getting donated to brain cancer research. And that's, again, shopgograyforacure.org.
All right. That's beautiful right there. Well, listen, I cannot believe this. I shouldn't say I can't believe it, but we have our first interaction from Twitch. It looks like, let me go and get my glasses on. It looks like, oh, wrong glasses. Let's get this real quick before we go. It looks like it's Drew Pibolis. And he says, number one, what's my qualification? And he says, who says these stats are right? And he says, where do you get your info from? Is it from Fox News? I say to you, sir, no. But what I do say, we appreciate you, Drew, for joining us here on Twitch. Please put the word out that we are rocking and rolling and that we always try to give you some great sports coverage. So, again, check us out on Twitch. We're very happy about that. All right, guys, you can follow me anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports 7. I should say follow me. Follow the show anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports 7. I'll try to pop that up on the screen so you guys can see it. You can also follow me personally at Minister J. Sim. And like I said, again, if you want to, you also can check us out on social media anywhere at Real Talk Sports 7. All right, guys, before I go, I always like to encourage you, being a minister of the gospel. If you don't know Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, please, ma'am, please, sir, get to know him today. Because why? Nobody loves you like Jesus, not your mom, not your auntie, not grandmama and them. Nobody, not your B, not your babe, not your boo. None of those people love you like him, not even your ride and die or your partner. Why? Because he loves you. He made you. He came for this earth, and he did something really, really cool. He actually went and died on the cross for all of your sins. That's right, not just you, but the sins of all mankind. When he rose from the dead, something great happened. All you have to do is believe that this happened, confess your sins, and voila, you become what they call born again. And what really happens is two things. Number one, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number two, you become an adopted child of God, and you have all the rights therein. And that means that you now can go to God directly yourself in prayer, ask him for what you need, ask him what you want, and according to his will, he will give it to you. And more importantly, when you leave here, you get to that wonderful, beautiful, happy place called heaven, and not that nasty, terrible place called hell. I don't know about you, but I like option number one better than option number two. All right, we got to go. Hopefully you guys will join us next time. But until then, God bless you and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Or I should say night. So long.
All of NASCAR's drivers have rallied around